What is going on, everybody? I actually do not have things going on. What is going on? Holtz, what is going on? Jeff Jeanette. Jeff, I started 2 minutes early just for you, by the way. Rouster, how are you? Yeah, I know. I cannot stand going in traffic when it's like, especially in the winter, like when it gets super dark, super early, and it's wet and it's raining. I totally hear you. Hopefully you get home safe. And then who is this? Right, Robertson. Um, no worry, Robertson. Thanks for coming by. I know you're doing all sorts of stuff, Roblox and Fall Guys and all the cool stuff. And I'll go ahead and have dinner. And y'all, I'm just gonna talk. Have a lot ambi what is going on. I am just gonna be talking about a little bit of stuff. So we got Cloud Wars starting to heat up. We have Game Awards, a lot of controversy there. And I might also talk a little bit about acquisitions. I know we haven't talked about acquisitions in a long time, but we do have. I don't think it's like as big as really any of the ones that in the past, but I'm just gonna give my thoughts on that here. So it's those three things, y'all. If y'all recall last week, I got a little sidetracked. I took my medicine. I took a nap. I am focused today. I have my thoughts to give. I also want to see if this music is going to work. I've been trying to get this to work over the last few streams, but it hasn't worked. So I'm hoping because I kind of took down the I took down the resolution of the video. It's 720. Usually it's 1080, so I did it 720 today. So hopefully that works. But yeah, so first off, I'll tell you what I've been playing. So on my streams on Sunday, I've been playing The Order 1886. I'm really enjoying it. I really enjoy the story. If you haven't played it and you have a PlayStation, I definitely advise going to pick it up. I think it's criminal that that game was just scored the way it was scored, but I think that's the way timing and so forth. But I'm glad I'm playing it now and am having a blast. Also, playing a little bit of X Defiant. Y'all know I love X Defiant. I started to get back into it. They just released a patch with private matches. There's some other stuff. There's a new map. So I am having a blast getting back into that. Also, there's going to be like this creative thing for X Defiant. Jack of all trades, who usually comes every once in a while through stream. We still have to schedule his interview. He's really setting this up, and it's like with a lot of the X Defiant community, the content creators there. So yeah, I'm really excited. I think y'all remember Nightfall came by, and a couple of times you Van Spates, Decoy, all these guys that I'll be talking to. They'll be in the tournament. I don't know about Decoy actually, but the others will. So, what's going on? Yeah, a lot of interesting news this week. Tons of interesting news. Exactly, tons of interesting news. So I do want to hit on that. Also, FCAT, I was supposed to interview FCAT this week. I'm going to have to pick him up in December. I probably will not be streaming on Thanksgiving Day. If I do, it'll be like a short, live stream after dinner. You know, probably during a football game or something. Something happens on Thanksgiving where I'm usually really bored, and I might do like a quick check-in with people. No obligation to show up, just to put it out there, like happy Thanksgiving and whatnot. So yeah, that's going on. Extra Life Reviews, what is going on? Mel, if y'all recall. So yeah, first thing I want to talk about is the Cloud Wars, and I kind of hinted at this not too long. Cowboy, way to go! Let me read. I gotta show this. So Purple, you were supposed to win as president. You were robbed, but let's start the money. Thank you so much, Cowboy. I greatly appreciate it. If y'all did not know, Cowboy actually moved to Florida this last weekend. He has the video of his move. And FCAT, we're gonna get you your own interview. I'm gonna get you your own interview where I set it up. No worry, I don't want to rush it today. But with Cowboy, saw his move. He's got his own little introduction, so y'all know he hasn't said he's probably not gonna stream until after the holidays. We're going to pick up FCAT probably the first Thursday of December. So FCAT, first Thursday of December, we're going to interview FCAT. I don't want to like bring him on today just because it's kind of rushed and I don't want to put him on the spot like that. Here, expert. Well, FCAT, I will open it up to everybody else to come on. So I do want to talk about the Cloud Wars a little bit, and then I'll drop the link. FCAT, you're free to come on as well. Cloud game on the PS Portal, Xbox streaming own games, lots of stuff. Exactly, Rouster. Everybody will be bored during the Cowboys and Giants game, so good time to stream. You know, one of my really good friends from the Army is a huge Giants fan. So I'm a Giants fan because he's a Giants fan, and he's a Houston Rockets fan because I'm a Houston Rockets fan. So it's kind of like super cool that I get to cheer for the Giants who aren't doing too well. But that's football. Next Fall Guys tournament win. Oh my goodness. Fast. When do you want it to be? You tell me. When do you want it to be? When do you finish finals? Do you even have finals? I swear, no, I don't want to be. People get shot as presidents. So yeah, but hope everyone's doing well. So Cloud Wars. So I think Rouster hit the nail on the head. You have the PS Portal, which is now being able or is going to have the capacity to stream games via the PlayStation subscription service. Do not ask me what it's called because they have like 5 tiers. Every single time I log into PlayStation, I don't know which one's which, but there's like Plus, Premium, something else. I don't know. But the one of them has where you can stream via the subscription service. And this is a really big deal because before, PlayStation was really known for its remote play capability, which, by the way, I have a PlayStation. I've never used that capability, but it exists. And so that is kind of like the big deal. Now, MM2K, y'all know who MM2K is. Great friend of the show. He has talked about this in depth. Definitely go check it out. What I also want to mention, though, Xbox came up with an entirely new campaign, Xbox Anywhere and Everywhere. This is an Xbox campaign. And what this campaign really is about is showcasing the cloud capability. You can stream Xbox on your TV, on your computer. You can play it on an Xbox. Basically, anywhere you can get an internet connection and they allow Xbox, you can play Xbox. On top of that, Xbox has now started to allow cloud streaming of certain games that you've bought. So it's not the entire library, but it's a pretty solid number in the library. I also want to bring into why that is. I think why there's certain titles. If you notice, there's a lot of European publishers involved in that list, and I don't think that's by coincidence. Also, if y'all watched my video about a few months ago, I talked about Nintendo, and I also think Nintendo has a big part of this. So let's rewind. Everybody, all the major publishers have some type of cloud streaming, cloud owning, or some type of capability right now. I think this is immense progress because if we recall, about 4 to 5 years ago, wasn't there. Over 4 to 5 years, it is now there. I expect this to continue to happen for a few reasons. And each of them are different. Let me just put that right there. 2 of my worst teams. Okay, I see y'all. To be honest, should have had it to begin with, considering other handhelds have had that. Yes, Mel, I'm not arguing with that. Not going to argue with that. But I do want to talk about this really quick. And what I will say is, I believe Sony has had the capability to put cloud on the PS Portal from day one. I don't think it's anything. I think by Xbox, I don't think it's a coincidence, let me say it like this, that Xbox says, hey, are anywhere, everywhere, and then Sony comes out and says hey, oh, by the way, you can do cloud streaming via the PS Portal. I don't think that's a coincidence. I also don't think it's a coincidence that Xbox did their anywhere, everywhere ahead of the Nintendo Switch launch and also during the PS5 Pro launch, right? So this is a great example of competition trying to outdo each other, trying to get their content in front of people and trying to grab basically mind share. This is my theory. I think it was designed this way. Who struck first? I don't know. If you ask me personally, I think a lot of this is revolving around Nintendo, but some people will say no, it's Xbox. Some people will say it's PlayStation. I don't really care. What I do know is the fact that consumers can have more options to play or can get more out of their subscriptions or can even get more out of their purchases. I think that is a win overall. So, um, agree, purple. I agree. Uh, let's see. Oh, Robert, are you getting me off my topic? I'm bored. So, I love Costco. Also, I like cheese and hot dogs from Costco, and I like Wipeout and oh my goodness, he's in an Xbox tournament. Xbox is the new Stadia. I don't know about that. I don't know. I think Xbox. I don't know. So MM2K, I do want to talk about this a little bit about who is having the bigger impact in cloud right now, right? And the criticism I have of Xbox's strategy is this, and this has a little to do with Game Pass, actually probably a lot to do with Game Pass, but more to do with just TVs in general. So I love the Google streaming box, like the Google TV thing that's like Apple TV or Roku TV. I like the Google one. It just to me has the most crisp AI. It like brings all the content in like one place. I just like not AI. User interface. I really like that. And so I got the new one, which is more like it's like actually sits down. It's like doesn't hang from the TV. And I hooked it up, and there's a TV I have upstairs, and it's a fairly old TV. I have it. I've had it probably 14 years now. It's like was when 1080p was a thing. Like remember we used to talk about 1080p and 1080i. This was like when 1080p like finally broke through and was like the premier thing to get. And I have this TV. It's from Samsung. This is also when Samsung was like number one in TVs. And it makes this cool sound when I turn it on. And that's literally why I like the TV. And it makes this like very welcoming sound. And it reminds me of my time in the army. Yeah, sentimental, right? So I hooked the streamer up to the TV and, I'm starting to go through it and it does not have Game Pass. No problem. Okay. Google, it's a Google product. We know Game Pass is with Amazon Luna, so forth. So, or not Amazon Luna, the Amazon Fire Stick. So what I did is I said, you know what? I want to try Game Pass on this. So what I did is I went and got a Fire Stick because don't ask me why, but I have like random Fire Sticks from like conferences. And so I got it. I put it in. Sure enough, there goes Game Pass. I try to get it up or load it up. And it loads up, but it's a very bad experience. And I think that is probably if there was any fault in Xbox's strategy, it's this. Is that even though cloud says like, hey, it doesn't matter about what your hardware is, you can play it anywhere. It actually does. Your screen, basically your hertz on your TV, which kind of power the frames per second, all of that still needs to be a very solid experience to have a good cloud experience. And I think this is the thing with Xbox traditionally with their cloud experiences. It's traditionally been the lacking experience. Now, if I do cloud on surprisingly, if I do cloud on my Series S, it works better than on my X. Don't ask me why. But I always feel like Xbox's cloud experience is a very uneven experience. And some of that could be your internet connection, which is always the case. Some of that could be the hardware you're trying to stream it on. Some of it could just be the game it's doing. I've always found Xbox's streaming capabilities to be an uneven experience. Mel, did it have the red light on the outside? That's the one I'm talking about. It had red on the outside. And the newer one had a white one. I said to myself, this is Stadia. Also speaking on Samsung, my sound has always sucked on Samsung TV. This sound, yeah, this one is just like this. It like boots up and it does this. I should record it one day. I should record it, but it's a very soothing sound. But yeah, so that's my concern with Xbox and its strategy is that you're not gonna go like be like, yeah, let me play the game I always try to play is Ori, because to me, that's a game that runs solid on the Switch. It's beautiful, and it's the type of game that I think people like. It just you can just melt hours and hours into. And strangely enough, like Ori has always struggled with Xbox in the cloud. It just does. And so when I think about it, I'm like, the quality of it, like I understand what Xbox is doing. Like, this is an Xbox, this is an Xbox, this is Xbox. And that's cool. But gaming, if it's not a great experience, you're gonna lose gamers and you're gonna turn them off to this ability to play games. Now, PlayStation, let's go to PlayStation. Now, PlayStation's cloud has not really been robust. They've really pushed the remote play. But with this PS Portal, I'm actually really excited because so far what I've seen is it's been an even experience. Meaning that is if you had a great experience doing remote play, generally what I've seen is you're going to have a solid experience doing cloud gaming on the PS Portal. Now, I have not checked this out myself. Y'all know I'm not a handheld gamer, but I probably will be buying the PS Portal tomorrow. So I'm going to test this theory out to see like to like. But what I really like about what PlayStation is doing is that they're slowly rolling it out. And even though some people are like, we want it all now, I think it's something to bring your users along or your customers along for the journey. And what I could see, hey, Cammy, how are you? Just talking a little bit of PlayStation and Xbox. And one of the things that I think I will be very interested to see with PlayStation is not so much with the Portal, but with their TVs. So last year, when I moved, I bought a brand new Sony TV, 120 hertz, like 4K, everything. And when you open it up, it has like the perfect place to have like all of Sony's content. Like it has like Sony, I don't know. Sony has like this whole thing where like you get special TV movies and stuff that are Sony. It has that whole section, and it has a section for gaming. My opinion is this: if cloud gaming starts to really pick up on TVs, meaning people are really starting to go towards playing like on their Fire Sticks or Google TVs or Samsung TVs or Sony, I believe Sony will eventually make their cloud available on their TVs. I don't think it's that hard. I think their newer TVs at least have that capability already built in. And so I totally expect that to happen within the next like 4 to 5 years. So you're like, well, Purple, what's going to push cloud gaming to the mainstream? Well, I think all the different companies, them offering these little tidbits to play games in the cloud. And let me make it clear, I don't think hardware is going away. I think if you want to pay for hardware, they're going to give you an option to pay for hardware. However, for people who are maybe thinking like, hey, consoles are getting more expensive, GPUs are getting more expensive, I don't have room for the hardware, or I just need something that's a little bit more portable or a little bit more transferable, the cloud definitely offers an option. Now, what's going to, in my opinion, bring this about, and this gets to why I feel like there's more European publishers that are putting their games on the cloud. If you look at the games that are available on Xbox, Decoy Cloud Gaming, Decoy, because you're a shooter type. You're a shooter type for sure. Hey, Crow, what's going on? Hey, Chariot Man. So what do I think why there's like European companies, like mostly are the publishers who are putting, not all, I do want to make that clear, but probably 80% of the companies that Xbox is allowing to purchase, allowing you to stream games that you own are actually from European publishers. And so think Ubisoft, think Focus Entertainment, think CD Projekt Red, some Bandai Namco. Like it's about 80%, even though Bandai Namco is Japanese, there is Bandai Namco Europe. And so why do I think that's happening? Actually has nothing to do with gaming. It has everything to do with regulation. So I know in the United States, it's like a bad acronym because it's been really politicized to a point that people really don't know what it is. But ESG, environmental social governance, The reason why people are measuring that is because government bodies are coming down and saying, like, hey, we understand that doing the right thing environmentally means like you're not going to get fined. Doing the thing right socially means you're not going to face a class action lawsuit. And doing the thing right governance wise means probably you're going to not have anti-competitive practices. And so that's why companies are actually measuring that. And unlike in the United States, in Europe, they're actually putting laws behind this. They're saying like, hey, you can only have so much, like you have to be net zero emissions, or you have to like make an effort to lower your supply chains pollution. And this is why I think cloud gaming is going to probably be pushed more or less from outside the United States, and the United States companies are going to have to react to it. Then it's going to be pushed from within the United States. I think Microsoft, because they're just such a huge company and they are very environmental conscious, they are probably a great champion to lean into this space. But I I think they're going to be dragged into it more or less. And again, I continue to say this. I think Nintendo is probably, I'm really interested to see what they're going to do. So, cloud wars are heating up. I understand people don't like it. Let me see what Decoy said, because I know he said cloud gaming is only good for the super casuals looking for single player experiences. It could be, Decoy. It could. There were some great experiences outside of that. I think for super hyper competitive, probably, yeah, cloud's probably not the way to go. But I mean, we did play it with Destiny, and that was a really great experience. Y'all can correct me if I'm wrong. Purple, you once said cloud will become popular once you can have porn on them. No, I said virtual reality. Virtual reality would become popular. Yeah, you could have cloud VR, but we're not there yet. No, I said once you have VR, once you can uh, get off on VR, that's when VR will become popular. But cloud, no, I think cloud is going to have to take people. I don't ever think it's going to be the mainstay for competitive gamers, but I could see it being to, I think what Decoy said, to casuals, but I think most people are casuals. That's the thing. I think there's like a small percentage of people, and they're like in the range of like 16 to 24 who are super competitive. And then after that, I feel like you don't have time, right? You don't have time, you don't have space, your priorities change, you have little mini me's running around. You really just realize like however I can get it, I can get it. It's kind of like sex. But that's what I think is it happens. I have a theory how all of this came about. Oh, FCAT, your theory. I will drop a link here. Geek the sneak. What's going on? Robertson, 23. I still haven't done my run. Robertson, go get your run in. It's super dark and wet where I'm at. But that's my thing. So that's the Cloud Wars. I actually, like I said, I believe, and I said this in my video, I think Nintendo, I'm really interested to see what comes from them. Not so much from a cloud perspective, more or less from a UI perspective. Because, like, I don't know. Nintendo's weird. Like, they're like, we know what you want, but we're going to give you something else. Like an alarm clock. So yeah. I've been trying to become a member, but couldn't on my phone. I now have a new Chromebook, so I find. Oh, you got the Chromebook? Cami, how do you like the Chromebook? I know you were asking me about that a few years ago. And thank you for becoming a member, y'all. Y'all, I'm gonna start doing more like member podcast type of things, or like member gameplay live stream type of stuff. So look for that. Probably between now and January, I'm gonna probably have it ironed out. So if you see like purple member only type of stuff, don't feel bad. I'm just testing out to see what works really the best. I had a company called Boostery reach out to me, and I tried cloud gaming on and off for a few months. It just didn't make sense to me on where it'd really be practical. So Decoy, that's really interesting because I think Boosteroid is a scam. But I know you have some Boosteroid partners in the community, mostly Enio. She's the one that comes to mind. But I think Boosteroid, GFN, similar process, right? I think where it comes to those is that, let me use GFN because I don't know Boosteroid what they're using in their servers, but let's use GFN. GFN It's gonna most likely give you the capability to stream with the equivalent of a 5080 on your computer, even though you don't have a 5080, right? So the 5080 is gonna probably cost, like, I'm gonna throw a ballpark out there, probably 1700 dollars come January, February. Well, for the person who doesn't have 16 to $1,700 to spend, but they may have $20 for a subscription fee and they still want that top level graphics, the GFN or Boosteroid is an option. And I think that's where it comes in. So, like Black Myth Wukong. Black Myth Wukong, I have a 4080, right? And Black Myth Wukong was pushing my PC. And I don't like to play on games on PC, so I eventually got it for PlayStation, and trust me, PlayStation did no better. Uh, but yeah, if I had played it with GFN though, most of the people who had GFN had an amazing experience on it. And I think that's where cloud gaming comes in. But for y'all who do cloud gaming in the chat, let me know if I'm wrong. No, I mean they haven't picked me to do my wipeout run yet. Oh no. I don't even know what Roblox is, to tell you the truth. I can't hear Cloud Wars without imagining clouds clashing swords with that's what it is. It's literally like that. That's exactly what it is, Mel. To have if I was more artistic, I would have drew that as the thumbnail. Ray is a booster rate partner, so watch that what you say. Oh, Ray. Ray is a booster rate partner. But yeah, I think that's what y'all I already told y'all. I'm not wait. How am I not a member? Cowboy, you're not a member. Well, thank you, Cowboy. Thank y'all so much for the member support. 99 cents. Like I said, I'm going to give you all more content or just more opportunities to connect, to get to know me kind of outside of Shades of Purple or my gaming streams. Not that y'all may want to know that, but I am gonna try to do more stuff for members. And most of y'all already know I'm members on your channels, or I come by and drop stuff for you all too. So that's look for that over the next few months. We live in countries that offer 8 gig down and up internet played well at Holtz. I don't know what that means. There's no vowels. But yes, they played well there. Uh I've been a couple of weeks now, I think. Hey Joe, what's going on? It's okay with you next Sunday can be the tournament Thanksgiving? The Thanksgiving weekend Sunday? I think I may do a Fall Guys tournament on Saturday. Uh fast. Just like probably Saturday. Simpleton. All right, yeah, last week I had issues. GFN is falling off. What? To what? Boosteroid's taking over? See, this is leaning into the sub casual area of gamers. I don't Rimworld is one of my most played game. I don't even know what Rimworld is. But that's me. That's a me problem. And that game looks like okay, I get what you're saying, but some people do. So that's what I think it is. Like some people care about graphics, some people care about speed, some people want to have that experience. And for those people who want like a top tier PC rig experience, whatever that means, but they don't have top tier dollars, cloud gaming is a way to do it, right? So you could have like a potato PC, or you could have a Chromebook. So Cammy in chat has a Chromebook. Cammy can get GFN, and she can make her Chromebook run games like a PC laptop. Just because that's how GFN works. Now, granted, she's going to have to pay a subscription to do that. But I mean, if that's what they want, like I said, I think more choices is better. I'm not saying this for everybody. I just think if you have the choice, it's good. I know more people will be buying. I will be buying the Portal this weekend just because I want to play my indie games on it, or my Metroidvania games on it. But if graphics are greater, input delay, then to each their own. But I don't know. Like I said, if you're a competitive gamer, I could see where cloud gaming is not your thing. But to your thing, if you're more of like a social, let's say like one of the games I like to play a lot is Remnant 2. Remnant 2 is actually a fairly demanding game. They've done some more work on it, but it's actually has some demanding game because there's so much going on in it. And so it's not so much graphics, it's just computational power, and I could see where that makes sense. So your friends are playing it, you wanna play it, but you don't wanna buy a console, you don't wanna buy a really expensive PC, but you're like, "You know what? I can buy the game and pay $20 for it, or $20 for a subscription." That's gonna give you an amazing experience for, like, $80. Now, granted, how many people this is, I don't know, but that's the theory behind it. Membership is pretty new here. It is new. It's like a month old. uh, yeah, Saturday I'm busy because me and my friends from church hang out. Fast, you have the most social life out of anybody I know, and you're like in middle school. I swear, like Fast is like going to basketball games, birthday parties, hanging out on Saturday Night Live. Like he's just doing everything. I don't remember my childhood being like this. Kids today, they go do everything. You know what I mean? Like here I am on a Thursday. It's ladies' night. Thursdays used to be ladies' night, and I'm streaming, but I love streaming with y'all. So that's why. Maybe he's talking about the 100-hour limit at GFP is falling off. That's a lot of time. But people like you're either gonna pass 100 hours or you're not. You know, I'm not. I think cloud gaming will always be a super niche audience. That's fair. That's fair. I think for me, Bo, I just say as long as there's options. You know, that's what I'm saying. If there is someone who's like, I can only game because of the cloud, and that person either can game via the cloud or they're not going to game at all, I would rather that person have the option to game via the cloud. That makes sense. Like, and this is someone who like, so just so you know, Decoy, I was not gaming from 2003 to 2020. And the thing that brought me back was a thing, Stadia, the thing that died that Google killed. That brought me back because it's like I wouldn't have like I'm not gonna waste money on a console. Like I hadn't gamed in a while, and Stadia was like I think it was like free at the time or something, and I was just blown away that I could like play these games and graphics. And before I knew it, like I was back in gaming. So, but now like I'm on hardware again. So we'll see. I'm on Chromebook right now. It's so slow, but it's convenient. I like Chromebooks. I do. And I don't like to me if I'm not connected to the internet, I don't know why I'm on a computer. Literally what I that's what I tell people like if I cannot connect to the computer, the internet, I should not be working. That's how I do it. I've been in cloud gaming since 2010 via online, which is now PlayStation Cloud Gaming. Crazy, right? Mr. Urban Roll, what is going on? Is Santa bringing me a Urban? It's your favorite time of the year. You won't mind the small screen. The small screen roster, what for the PS Portal? I we'll see. And this is the thing about it. I have a PlayStation. Or, blah, blah, blah. I have a um Best Buy gift card for like $500, and so yeah, I'm gonna buy the PS Portal with it, and I might spend. I don't know if I want to get the PS Pro yet, but I'm gonna get the PS Portal with it, and then we'll figure out. Maybe I'll get a popcorn machine or something. True story. I might get a popcorn machine with that. So we'll see. All live on the pioneers of cloud gaming. Sony owns the patent now. Crazy how the tables turn. We'll see. We'll see. I wonder if it'll be good enough to experience to play Metroidvania since they're fast paced and rely on little. So I played. I don't know. I'll let you know. That's a good question. I like Metroidvanias. I played a ton. Well, I like some. I don't like others, as y'all know. And one of the games I love to play is Little Nightmares. Not really a Metroidvania, but it does require you to be kind of quick in certain areas. That's usually the game I test things. That and Floor Kids, this little breakdancing game. I love that game. Yes, Floor Kids. I don't think I've ever talked to people about Floor Kids, but I probably have 100 hours in Floor Kids. So yeah. I never play a first-person shooter on cloud game, but The Witcher 3 felt off. Didn't like it. I think it was fine for gamers like Divinity Original Sin 2, but that's yeah. Huh. So that's what you try to do? You try to play Witcher? Do you think it wasn't because Witcher is just an older game? So, I say that because remember a few years ago, like, they, like, remastered Witcher, and I never played Witcher because it falls in that time frame that I was in gaming, and I went back to it and it just felt dated. Like, I felt like it felt sluggish, and that was not on the cloud that I was doing that with. Now, maybe that's just Xbox, but it just felt really weird. So, maybe but yeah, Decoy, I feel like you have a rig. I feel like you have every console. Like you're not the cloud demographic. But I could talk to she's not in chat right now, but Rabolica. Rabolica is someone who her PC, like she likes to play like The Sims or people who like to play City Skylines or just those very like open construction world type of games. Those games actually are like low on graphic power, but a lot on compute power. And it's not like in like what's the second game I just mentioned? City Skylines. City Skylines is a horrible experience on console. It just is. So you kind of need to play it on PC. You need to have like your city built, you need to kind of have your roads, you kind of have to have everything like that. And it just makes more sense if you played City Skylines on a computer. And I could see like where someone like Rabolica, I don't think she's playing City Skylines, she plays The Sims, where she would enjoy it. But I hear you. I hear you. I hear you. Let me get down here. My daughter just got to high school and does a lot of social, and she was with it. Oh my god, really, Russ? Oh my goodness, I'm way behind on y'all's comments. Let me get way down here. Uh, or sim like games, sure, but okay, you said it already. Let me get way down. So sorry, y'all. I'm way back. Joe's up here. The human eye can't really see anything lower than 13 milliseconds. Like just saying. I tried The Witcher 3, Elden Ring, and Black Desert Online. All felt off on cloud. You notice the input delay. So simulation, slower games, yeah, cloud can work good. Yeah, okay. Elden Ring. I didn't like. Oh no, I don't like Elden. Oh, Witcher 3 wasn't remastered per se. It was just frame update with some update textures as a surprise. So was it? I don't know. I didn't enjoy it though, Mel. Ambi tells me I would love The Witcher. I didn't like it. Um. So yeah, share main game. I'm enjoying it a lot. Thank you. All right. I got so many hours into Sims 4 and played City Skylines a fair bit. Not two, but one. Yeah. So City Skylines. I played so on Stadia. I played City Skylines, and I found myself melting hours away in that game, as well as this other game that's like a little. You're like the factory owner, and there's these little guys. It's like Little Big Factory or something. Those types of games, like cloud gaming, I think does really well because like your PC has to like depending on how you configure it, your rig could run into some issues on those type of games. So we'll see. Sims 4 plus mods is actually nutty. If you like Sims 4, you need to talk to Rabolica. She's like our Sims expert. Like she's been playing Sims. She like I don't know. I wish she was here because we were talking about it one time and she's like, yeah, she's been playing it for like 20 plus years. Like she's OG. To be honest, most people's issues with cloud gaming down to their own network setup issues. Joe, I agree, but I'm not gonna say that's everyone, right? Like I think there are some people who literally feel the difference. Um, and and for them, I'm like, yeah, like I say, I think it's great for like y'all remember a few weeks ago for Dio de los Muertos. I had one of my family members on, if y'all did not know that. And she is someone who doesn't have a PC that does gaming. She doesn't have a console that does gaming. And she's like, "Yo, how do I play this game you recommended me?" And so I was like, "Yo, just do this. It's gonna cost you like $30." And she's like, "Okay, $30, I can do that." I think that was a great opportunity where cloud gaming comes in. Factorio, the game I was talking about. No, it's like Little Big something. Little Big Workshop. That's what it's called. Little Big Workshop. Indiana is 10 years ahead on every other state when it comes to cloud. Indiana is not. Are you serious? I don't even think people know where Indiana is on a map. That's a true story. Can only see 360p and 5 frames per second. No, you can see better than that. I work in Staten Island. Ooh, nice. Nice, Cammy. So, y'all, so that's Cloud. We're now going to talk about Game Awards stuff. Ultimately, this is what I have to say. I have to ask this question because I am thoroughly confused. What is the difference between a DLC and a sequel? That's my question. What is the difference between a DLC and a sequel? Because here's the thing. When I look at Tree or whatever the Elden Ring DLC is that people are super up in arms about, I'm like, why can't we call that a sequel? It's like 40 hours long. It has like tons of bosses. Like, is it as long as the first one? No, but it seems like it's like a sequel more than a DLC. So in my book, like, I think it should be nominated. I don't think it's going to win, but I think it's totally okay to be nominated. DLC, you need the base game. Oh, is that so? Ooh, Joe, you just stomped me because I'm trying to figure out, is that for every single game? I guess you're right, eh? I guess you're right. I can't think of a game that's a DLC that you don't need The Witcher 2 to play The Witcher 3. Okay, so that's what you're saying. Y'all are going with that. A sequel is actually a standalone game. So for this new Elden Ring, you need the actual base game. Okay. And y'all are saying because that is a base. So you're saying the argument then is that because it's an add-on to the base game, it should not be its own it shouldn't be its own thing. Do you know how Total Warhammer games work? No, I don't know Total Warhammer. Those games are like DLCs too. It's weird. Really? I just know the Warhammer game that just came out, the Space Marine one. Isn't that called Warhammer? I don't know. When people say Warhammer, I think of a tabletop game. Like I think they're related. I don't know. Like I remember when that stuff was just getting super popular too, in like the late 90s. I was like, this will never catch on. DLCs generally use the same animations from the existing base game, so it comes with a built-in audience. Yeah, but then we would say like Tears of the Kingdom is a DLC to Breath of the Wild. They're very similar graphics. I don't know. Ultimately, should Elden Ring game? I think what I was initially trying to go, but y'all like made me think differently about this topic now. Where I was gonna go is like the game length. Like to me, when I play a DLC for Little Nightmares, it's literally like 10 minutes. Or I play a DLC for Prince of Persia, the one that just came out in February. That is nowhere close to the length of the main game. The DLCs for Remnant 2, each of those are like a third of the length of the main game. Now all of them combined actually kind of make their own game in a way, but none of them by themselves is like it's like just opens up like a new boss or a new area of the map. And so I guess in that regard, yeah, I can see why people are upset that a DLC would make Game of the Year, but I don't think it's actually going to win Game of the Year. So calm down. That's my ultimate thing. I don't think it's going to make Game of the Year. It's CC part of the handheld PC. Oh, Simpleton. Simpleton has a handheld PC. Which one? Sequel, new story. So you're going with. See, I was saying that sequels, the DLC is same story. Sequel is a new story. See, I was initially thinking along these lines. I was thinking about game length. I was thinking about story, but I think this makes sense what people are saying. DLC, I need the base game. I cannot think of a sequel that is not standalone. Now, you may be lost in the sauce with the story. Like, I think that's what Dragon Dogma 2 is. Like, it's like people don't know what's going on. Or what's that game that's like Diablo that's coming out? Oh, I can't think of the name of it. Something Eternity or Eternal. Something with an E. Standalone DLCs are allowed. Uncharted: The Lost Legacy was meant to be a DLC, but became its own separate game. I think that's how Tears of the Kingdom started off. Balatro is my vote for Game of the Year. You know what? I was talking to someone else about this Balatro game. I don't understand it. They told me it's poker. I don't understand how poker is so popular. Assassin's Creed Mirage, same game, right? Remakes and DLC should have their own category so that actual new games get visibility. But are they getting visibility? There's 9,000 games that get released on Steam every year. Like, I think... But then couldn't you say, like, hey, certain games are getting... Like, you're bringing visibility to the prior game, you know? Like, what's the game called? Cyberpunk. They had a DLC last year, and they got nominated for Best Ongoing Game. Don't ask me what that category means, but... And I think, like, now Cyberpunk's seen as a success. I don't know. I see it both ways. Like, do I think... Like, if Balatro is getting nominated for Game of the Year, and it's literally a poker game, why aren't people up in arms about that? DLC is required base game to be played. Entry is is longer as a DLC than many single player games are. So Decoy, now you're getting where I'm coming from though. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, if it's like actually like has a story arc, it's an actual story. It's like much longer. You know what I mean? Why couldn't it? I think like what Joystick Source does and did today should have its own category. Okay, Astrobot is a very short game if you don't go for 100%. I think Astrobot's going to win, though. Like, I think just based upon the sheer number of Metacritic scores, the user score... There's one more category I usually say. And the Metacritic score. So the number of critics who scored it, the score it got, and the user score, I think it's going to be Astrobot. Entry is like Taken King to Destiny. DLC making the cut. Joe, and you're a game designer. DLC making the cut. But is it like... But it's a DLC that's super long. Is that not... Does that not count? Sequels can be a continuation on the same story, though. I agree with that, too. I think that's why they come up with a sequel. I agree with Cowboy that remakes are still retro games, but just decorated to please the eye. But he says they aren't. So here's the thing. So this is actually a great topic because a company, Po2, Pillars of Eternity. Yes, great. Rouster, you read my mind there. Pillars of Eternity, exactly what I was thinking. Sequel as a dev, yeah, DLCs have audience built in with base. I get what you're saying. Give me up there. Give me a second. Give me a second, FCAT. As soon as 9, I'll open it up. 14,500 games were released on Steam. That's what I'm saying. That's ridiculous. It's ridiculous how many games are. If this were the case, then Cyberpunk 2020 Phantom Liberty should have had more nominations since, in my opinion, it's better than the base game. But even that, I still don't think should be classified as a game itself. But Cyberpunk, the Phantom Liberty is nowhere close to as long as the base game. You know what I mean? And this is coming from someone who hasn't fully played that. I just know Cyberpunk was saved by an anime. True. Wait, true. Balatro was made by one dev. Yeah, totally get it. Entry can't be game of the year because it's not the game. Elden Ring is the game. Astrobot should win, in my opinion. Yeah, I think a lot of people would say that. I don't think Entry or whatever it's called, I don't think it's gonna win. I also don't think it's like sacrilegious for it to be nominated. I guess that's my point. But talking about remakes and why they're important. So a company, Konami, y'all know Konami, they came out yesterday or last week and they said that they're going to remake the Obi, this is your game if you're still in chat. they're going to remake the Metal Gear Solid series. The reason they're going to remake the Metal Gear Solid series or the Metal Gear series is because the newer generation of gamers don't even know what Metal Gear is. You know what I mean? Decoy, here's a great question for you because you're a great example. Decoy, if I say Contra the game, what do you think of? If he's still in chat, I'm really interested in what he has to say. Mel, same thing with you. If I say Contra, like the video game Contra, what comes to your mind? I'm hoping those two are still in because I really am interested in what they have to say. If and y'all who are older know what I'm trying to get at. Like if I say the game nominate entry for game of the year is like nominating a TV show for movie of the year. Decoy, you being so do you think, here's a great question. Do you think Netflix TV shows cannot be, do you think a Netflix movie should not be able to be nominated for Academy Awards? Question. Do you think a show that you can watch on Netflix should not be nominated for movie of the year? What comes to mind? Old as fuck. See, there we go. That's what I was trying to get at. So if DKOA is saying Contra is old, they need to redo those games. Like that's where I think remakes make sense. It's like to bring in a different audience before you go big on it again. What do you mean? The game itself comes to mind. Okay, Mel. But a lot of people don't remember the game. And so that's my thing. I think the whole question was like, what? Because I asked someone else this before. Like, Wit is also someone in chat, if she's still in chat. Like, if I say Contra, they'll be like, what? What are you talking about? And I feel like that's like one of the best co-op shooters of all time. And so I'm like, okay, if they wanted to redo Contra, which they did this year. So Konami created a remade Contra game that did not sell well. And a part of the reason I think it didn't sell well is just because like, it's really only nostalgia for people who are like literally like 40 plus, or it's people who are really into games and understand that, or they just never have heard of it. Remakes are fun. Contra is an old style. I don't think it would work nowadays. See, that's my thing though. I think it could. Like, I think the same way Outrider, any cover shooter. Like, what is that? The game from Xbox. Oh my goodness. Gears of War. Why couldn't you use Contra's storyline for Gears of War? Why could you not do a third-person cover shooter for Contra nowadays? You may bait a few older gamers into buying it purely from this, but you ain't bringing new eyes in, really, am I? Well, obviously they created the game, right? They created the Contra game, the remake this year, and it didn't sell well. You know, I thought it was amazing because they redid the music, they did so many cool things, and it was like super nostalgic. But I think it could have done better. If that stupid Ninja Turtles game that came out like a year and a half ago did well, I don't understand why Contra didn't, or why people didn't give Contra. No more white slander. What are you talking? What are you talking about? With I tried Contra. It was cool. Yeah, I thought it was cool. No more wit slander. Oh. That's actually funny coming from you. Gears of War. Yes. Why couldn't you do it that style? Wasn't Contra a 2D game? Yeah, it's a 2D. Yeah, sure, but wasn't like. There's been other genres, like Mario was originally like a top-down game. Or no, it was a 2D game. Zelda was originally top-down. Like, to bring it up to date, to bring it to a new audience. That's what I mean. Like, to totally remake it, to remake the story. Like, yeah, I'm not saying like the side-scrolling game, even though I think the side-scrolling game is really fun. But I'm just saying to like bring it to a newer audience, you bring in newer game mechanics. And I think Contra would be like the most amazing cover, not most amazing cover shoot. I just think that the story, the gameplay, the historical nature of the gameplay lends itself to games we have today. Third person co-op cover shooter based on Contra. Take my money. It's simple. Exactly. Exactly. So it's not really a remake if it's a totally different style. No, it is. Wait. A remaster would be like what they did. A remake is like you totally rebuilt the game. That like literally it's remade. A remaster would be if you... What's a great example of a remaster? What is this horror game I just played? Until Dawn. Until Dawn was remastered. But remakes means like you totally remake it. Like you new game engine, new everything, but you're still in the same family. Wait, so I'm confused about the question. Are we talking about if remakes are worth it or still talking DLCs? No, we're talking something totally different. I'm just talking like totally different. I don't know where we went. I don't know how I got to Contra. But I was just thinking about Contra. I'm going to have to rewatch the show to see where my stream of conscious went. But I just was asking YouTube because I was talking to someone and they were like, someone under 30 wouldn't know what Contra was. And I was like, let me test this theory out. So that's why I was like, okay, I know some people are under 30. Now, I guarantee if I go ask Fast, the dude who's always asking me about Fall Guys, he has no idea what Contra is. None. Purple, please show us your Christmas tree. I need to get... So, Christmas trees. We're at a stalemate in my family right now. My mom wants a balsam fir. I don't know. It smells really good. But my brother wants a different one because supposedly the balsam fir's needles fall and the other one looks like a Christmas tree longer. I don't know. So I've said no one's getting anything if y'all can't get along. Ball humbug. Okay, yeah, you can make a game based off of sure. Okay. But that's what I'm saying. Then that's the point of remakes. That's the point of remakes. And therefore, if you can do that, then that game should be nominated for Game of the Year. I guess that's where we were going with that. I don't know. Maybe. Are you asking if remakes should be nominated? I think so, yeah. You know me. I'm a heavy advocate for remakes. Yeah. Purple Sour Blow. What's going on, Sour Blow? What happened to your game today? You were talking all up Stalker 2. And then what happened? Stalker 2. What happened? Sour Blow, tell us what happened. You were so up on Stalker 2. Like a month ago. You came on here talking all this stuff about you and what's it called? Came up over here. Saturday thinks fans of games like Contra Metal Slug are long gone. Don't say that. Diablo 2, I really want to play Diablo 2. What's that? What if we remake Call of Duty, but it's a top-down city builder? Just seems weird. You took it too far. You took it too far. No, I mean, but you could make, you had me. What if we make Call of Duty into a twin stick shooter? Yeah, I could see that. But I'm just saying, like, yeah. Hey, Dark. Wow. What the heck? Dark 1985. There's levels to this. Doc, are you still in chat? It was remade in Unreal Engine, recreated as, so it's a remake. Rebuilt from the ground up. Totally get it. Remake is same-ish story, same everything else, but in a different skin. I agree. So yeah, so I think this chat's agree. A remake can be Game of the Year, but a DLC can't. I guess. We're doing green this year, but I want to do Flock Christmas. What? Yeah, I feel like when I play Diablo, it's either really easy or really hard. Guys, I qualify. Thank you, Robertson. I don't think that's a real remake, in my opinion. What is it then? What happened with what? What about Stalker? Yes, Sourbloww, Stalker. SV has been playing Stalker 2 on his PC with 0 issues. Interesting. I was in a stream with Dark1985, and he said that he said it was trash, hot garbage. If you make a great remake, it should be nominated for a remake of the year. Oh my goodness. So here we are. Here we are. I like that. Wow. You like what? Remake can be game of the year. I agree on that. Okay, so we're all in agreement. Let me drop this link. So anybody, if I said anything that triggered you, come in. If you want some explanations, I'm about to drop this link, y'all. And you can come in. Anybody can come in. I try to do one at a time. So, but I'm gonna drop the link. And I know some of y'all been asking for that. So let me do that. That's the link. I don't know if I can pin that. I have to go into like something else to pin that. But yeah, so all right. So that was the thing. So obviously Game Awards, some controversy. This audience is not a fan of Urge Tree being nominated or winning. I don't think it's gonna win. I think it's gonna go to Astrobot. I also don't know why Black Myth Wukong got nominated. I actually do know why Black Myth Wukong got nominated, but I don't necessarily agree with that one being nominated either. But, you know, I'm not going to lose sleep over it. Or pop out chat. Who is this? Who is this? Who do we got here? We got someone, y'all. Okay, we got someone. FCat, what's going on? FCat.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, FCat. What's up?
All right, there we go. Hang on, let me switch audio right quick. All right, there we go. We are straight.
FCat, what's going on? We're gonna do your show in 2
Chilling,
weeks. So don't give us too much of who you are yet.
Well, I want to talk about Game Awards and I want to talk about this cloud situation going on.
Okay.
So where do you want me to start?
All right. Well, let's start. Let's jump into it because I do got someone in the backstage who wants to come in. So we're gonna give you 5. We're gonna give you 5, 10 minutes, FCat. How about that? I know.
Yeah.
We're gonna give you your whole show in 2 weeks.
Well, the Game Awards situation, I believe that's completely Jeff Keighley's bias.
Okay.
Because you can't tell me all these, jury or media outlets chose to put a DLC up there. They chose to put, one of the lowest scored rated games up there as Game of the Year, which is Wukong.
Okay, so you so I can understand why he puts Wukong in, right? Wukong gets in because it literally, if we think about Person of the Year, we think of like movie, like Wukong probably made the biggest buzz most recently in games.
Right, it was really popular.
So I can see why Black Myth Wukong, even though it scored 81, there might be some bias there from like Western outlets versus Chinese outlet, like whatever. Do I think it's Game of the Year? No. Like I love Wukong, but I don't think I think they scored it right. I think it's like an 85. But I think with Urge Tree or whatever this, I don't even know what an Urge Tree is, y'all. So I'm just gonna say E-Tree. With E-Tree,
so it's like basically like an expansion. So like I play a lot of Destiny, right? And so that has expansions. Now Destiny gets nominated for like ongoing game every single year, and they always announce which expansion it's on. Like this year it says Destiny Final Shape, so it's kind of like that.
Yeah, so I would say, I think the reason you put, but FCAT, here's the thing. The reason why I don't think I think it has a legit shot is because it rated really high. It's like 94.
Right.
It has, I don't know, over 50 critics rating it as a 94, and it's like a 40-hour game.
The thing about Urge Tree is you have to beat that certain boss to access it.
So okay, so you have to beat a boss within Elden Ring to act. So I understand what y'all are saying. I totally get that it's not a sequel. I get that you need to beat a boss in the main game to play E-Tree.
Right.
Totally get that. But I'm saying the actual experience in the game, how long it is, like, it is longer than most games. So why is that not?
I mean, taking King Forsaken for Destiny was pretty big and long.
I'm just saying. I'm not. I'm just saying. Like so you're thinking it's all
It's
set up.
great.
Jeff Keighley.
Y-
You're part of the
Yeah,
Jeff
it's
Keighley
biased.
conspiracy crowd.
There's no, you can't tell me that this comes down to a jury process. Like, this is completely Jeff Keighley's show,
This totally
and he's
comes down to
calling
a
a
jury
shot.
process. This totally comes down to like it's not hard to see.
But I do believe Wukong's gonna win Game of the Year, just so that they put it on Xbox the day next.
No, they were already gonna put it on Xbox. They're already gonna shadow drop this on Xbox.
But yeah, let's talk about the cloud situation. So I believe, what you said, you thought it was Nintendo that
Just the market
sparked all
in
this?
general. The market
Oh,
in
the
general.
market.
Yeah, the market
See,
in general.
I think it came down to that GFN announcement when they announced that 100-hour cap. A lot of customers got really mad and they started boycotting GFN. And PlayStation was like, hey, these people need somewhere to go. You know, that's a non-consumer move, so we'll give them a pro-consumer move. We'll release, cloud gaming beta on the portal. Next day Xbox sees that, then they put out the games your own thing.
So maybe, but I think it has
But
more to
also,
maybe.
if you notice, all this is happening around when Stadia was birthed and died. And Stadia was released November 19th.
You are so weird with yours.
Yeah, think about it.
Okay, so they announced it.
So
because
after Stadia died, what happened? GeForce Now released the 4080.
True.
Right. So then, where do we go from there? So, PlayStation came out with the PlayStation 5 cloud thing. Then, what happened next?
FCAT, this is your theory. I don't know what happens next in your theory.
It's just all lines up. And
it just lines up.
It's crazy because you're seeing all these people who claimed, 3 years ago that cloud sucks and it didn't work for them. Now all of a sudden it works for them.
I mean, I think it's got better though. It's been 3 years. You know what I mean? Like it's gotten. I think cloud's gotten better. The infrastructure hasn't gotten better. I think it's gotten better for some
changed. Did people upgrade from dial-up to fiber in 3 years?
I just think it's gotten better for some people. That's all I've got.
But yeah, I mean, this thing with GFN, they're really falling off because they made this announcement. They're sticking by it. A lot of people are trying to tell them, hey, don't do this, and they're boycotting. They're canceling their subscriptions. They're riding on free tier, things like that. They're going to Boosteroid. Their service ain't all that great, though. I've been trying it.
Yeah. So Geek is, yes, Geek. So it comes down to the cap for FCAT. He's saying the cap is why PlayStation made this announcement. I actually think they're not related personally, and here's the reason why, FCAT. And I'm gonna get Mel on here in a second.
They've been working on it, but it like pushed it. Like this came out early than it was supposed to.
So the reason why I think the cap is happening is because the more fidelity you have in cloud gaming, right? So to go from 1080p to 4K, right? That is more data. Someone has to pay that data, right? You're not paying it. You're paying the game, like GFN's paying it or Nvidia's paying it. So they know that they are about to go from a 4080 to a 5080. So in my opinion, they're just prepping because that's going to cost them more money. And I think we're going to see a price increase for GFN. because it's getting too expensive. Like the
Yeah,
amount of
they're gonna
data they're
do
pushing.
the 5080 probably whenever that comes out pretty soon.
Yep, January.
Yeah,
But FCAT, can you promise us you'll be back in 2 weeks?
I will be. Real quick, I advise people to get the Portal because right now the Portal you're actually playing a PlayStation 5. Other than XCloud where you're playing a Series S. So
There
just
you
putting
heard
that
it.
out there.
The man who knows all about cloud gaming, FCAT. PS Portal, you're getting a PlayStation 5. xCloud, you're getting a Series S. I'm
Yeah,
gonna have to
there you go.
unpack that.
But it all comes
Yeah.
down to what ecosystem you're on, you have games on, or you prefer.
Could not have said it better. Ecosystems. FCAT, thanks for coming on.
No, bro.
Let's FCAT, y'all. He's gonna have his own show here in 2 weeks. All right, let's bring in Extra Life Reviews. Mel, what's going on?
Hey, I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing well, and I just saw we make cloud gaming illegal. What's going on, Mel?
Not much. Just chilling, watching the show, and yeah, happy to be here as always. Thank you for having me.
Well, Mel, thanks for joining. So, Mel, what do you think about this debate?
Well, I can't comment on the GeForce Now thing because I'm not too well versed in that. But at least for the Game Awards, is that what we're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, at the end of the day, it's okay. The thing that I think most people don't talk about enough is the fact that the Game Awards, at the end of the day, is just a big celebration of games, just like any award show, and that no matter what game wins or loses or whatever, you still have your favorite game. Okay. And I think even though I personally disagree that DLCs should be included in a Game of the Year nomination, I mean, I'm not like that fussed about it either, to the same degree some people are. And at this point, I think it's about all semantics and stuff. However, to the point where we were talking about length, I was saying that I don't think it's indicative of whether or not it should be considered a game or not. Because in that case, if we're talking about length as to how long or how short it should be in order for it to be considered a game, then something like The Order, which is only like 5 hours long, should that now not be considered a game? No.
So you're kind of hitting on what I feel like. Yeah, I think we're see eye to eye on this.
Yeah.
That I'm not gonna lose sleep over it, right?
Yeah.
I think I totally agree with you that the Game Awards. Look, I think the Game Awards are like the Super Bowl for me. Like, meaning, I watch the Super Bowl for commercials. I watch the Game Awards to see what games are coming out next year. Like, that's it. Like, obviously, like, am I gonna wait for the game? Like, I stream it, so in 3 weeks I will stream it. But it's really like, like, it's like their opinion. Like, my favorite game this year is Prince of Persia.
Right.
It is what it is. You know what I mean?
I think the bigger problem with the Game Awards for me personally is just that like, I get it, we need to have ads, but I kind of wish that there were a little fewer and more focus on the games and the awards themselves, just because like I feel like we blow past, especially there'll be like segments where we'll have a category and then Jeff just stands on stage and he'll be like, okay, here's this category for this section, and then he'll just like do like a spitfire round and then it's over, and then obviously not enough time for the devs that made it to speak, like with the wrap it up, which I assume he's going to make an adjustment for this year, but it's still things like that. And like when I watched the joystick awards today, the one criticism I had was a bit of the pop music using that to for people to accept their awards, but that's it. But the rest of it was mostly like even though they had far more categories, to the point where I don't think it was necessary, they also had a lot more categories and actually gave each one of these games a chance to shine. And I feel like that's something that I hope the Game Awards sort of adopts more so in the future, which I'm pretty sure they won't. But yeah, if there's any controversy, I think that is the more pressing thing. And then also, I know Jeff lightly touched on it before, but I feel like there should be more, is the layoff situation and all that and such. So yeah. So those are my real thoughts on the Game Awards.
Yeah. So I agree. I think my thing about the Game Awards this year, um, the one thing I hope is not in the Game Awards that I feel like is bound to happen
Mhm.
is that you're going to get the anti-woke people there.
Of course.
And this is a crowd that really annoys me because
Me
it
too.
like takes away from like legit criticisms of games.
Yeah.
Like you take up all the oxygen.
hmm
And and so I can just already see it, right? And that's so I'm kind of like fearful of that. You know what I mean? Like I could already see like you already know what I think of Black Myth Wukong. Like it's probably
Mhm.
like the most ideologue game that there is this year. Not in a bad sense, but you're
Right.
not going to convince me that there's not very strong ideologies in
Mhm.
that game.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, you can kind of already see like this game, it's all going to be under that lens.
hmm
And to me, that's just a very
Oh, it always was going to be and always will be, unfortunately. But it's funny whenever it's like it's proven otherwise toward against them, but then their goalpost shifts. Whatever. For example, Dragon Age the Veilguard. There's a whole thing with that. And they're like, it's not
Here goes
successful.
Decoy. Is
And
Stellar Blade was Stellar Blade nominated?
no, not for Game of the Year. I think it was nominated for something else. I think like best soundtrack or something like that. I don't know. I can't remember. You'll have to double check. But I do think that Dragon Age the Veilguard should have gotten for soundtrack because that's Lauren Balfe and Hans Zimmer, which is
Hans Zimmer.
yeah.
Does he have any Game Awards like best soundtracks? Hans Zimmer
No.
is
Yeah,
like
and he wasn't nominated for Dragon Age the Veilguard, which is surprising. But
wow.
yeah.
Hans Zimmer. Wow. He has like all the Christopher Nolan films. He's like done a lot of that there. Batman.
Even The
Or I
Lion
guess
King.
Dark Knight. Sorry, y'all. The Dark Knight. The Dark
Yeah,
Knight.
Dark
I
Knight,
know we
yeah.
have some Batman purists.
Which you can actually hear in the soundtrack. It's very like if you listen to it while I was playing it, like I was like, oh yeah, I hear it now. I hear the Dark Knight in there.
Wait, Decoy, I'm confused. Is Stellar Blade trash or because some people I'm about to go buy Stellar Blade because people have told me it's an amazing game. Because I like hack and slash. Let me be very clear, y'all. I like hack and slash and I like solid stories. And they told me Stellar Blade has that.
I haven't played Stellar Blade, but from what I know, I've heard it's pretty decent. Just not, I guess, like on the level of like Wukong, where it's like it's not like the most amazing game per se, but also a pretty good one. Like I don't know. I also think that if you've played Nier Automata, you've kind of already played this.
I played Nier Automata a little bit. That's another game that has an amazing score.
Yeah.
And so I actually saw you comment earlier, Mel, on a Twitter post about like why do people play games? Or maybe that wasn't you. Maybe that wasn't you. Maybe I saw your Twitter post after. Anyway, someone put this thing up. What gets you into a game? Is it the story? Is it the music?
Oh yes, it was with Motive. They tweeted that, and then I said, well, the story, and but often go hand in hand with the characters.
Yeah. So I remember that. So, and for me, I think I actually will play a game because of the score.
Yeah.
And so Nier Automata had an amazing score. Stellar Blade is a generic Korean publisher game in my opinion. What the heck? How many Korean games are you playing? Like Liza P, Stellar Blade. What's your other big Korean game?
It's a whole two.
I'm trying to think like what other Korean games are out there. We were just celebrating Korean game devs.
From what I can think of, I don't know. Nothing comes to mind. But there is also the Balatro.
What is Balatro, Mel? And then I'm going to bring in Holtz on after this. But...
Sorry. So Balatro, that I have to preface it by saying I haven't played it, but I've heard so much about it since it came out this February, and so many people have been saying it's such a great game. It's so addictive. Even people who aren't into card games, right? I'm someone who's not into card games usually, and so when I do get the chance, I'm going to try it out anyway. But it's like it's a roguelike like poker style game. And it's super addictive, and so obviously that got a Game of the Year nomination, and so a lot of people are just finding out about it because they like a lot of times they'll get outraged because it'll be a game they've never heard of, and they think never heard of equals what is this shit, right? And so it's like, no, just because you haven't heard of it doesn't mean it doesn't deserve to be there. It doesn't deserve its place. Same thing with Metaphor Refund Tatsu. A lot of people haven't heard that, but that's an easy Game of the Year for me.
Yeah, I heard Metaphor was huge. I just think, like, to me, there should be more outrage about Balatro.
Yeah.
Not that it's not a popular game. I'm not saying it's not popular. What I am saying, though, is when I think about what goes into the game, like when we think about Game of the Year and you're talking about score, soundtrack, gameplay, game direction, like usually your Game of the Years have scored really well in all those categories. And for me, I can understand why E-Tree, don't ask me why I call it that, it's E-Tree. I can understand why E-Tree has rated high in all those. It is a longer game. It is, and there's that. But Balatro, I don't know. Like, is there a story in Balatro? It doesn't look like it.
I don't think so, but I don't think every game needs a story per se. That's just the one thing that draws me into a lot of things. And while music also does to some degree, that's like the most important. So personally, when I look for games, that's usually what I go in for, but not everyone does, right? Zelda as well. Zelda sometimes has a good story, but people mostly go into it for the gameplay, right?
So I totally agree.
Elden Ring too, right?
I just think that, but Zelda still would have like a score, would still have a game direction. I don't know.
It does have a game direction, Balatro. I don't know what the score is like per se. I haven't played it, but somebody did.
Either Balatro or E-Tree. Yeah. Oh no, Holtz. Did we lose Holtz? Lost Holtz. Okay. Well, we lost Holtz. So you're up for a little bit longer, Mel.
Oh, okay.
We lost Holtz. I was about to bring Holtz on. We lost Holtz. So Sourbelow is saying neither Balatro or E-Tree. Decoy saying Nexon. Decoy saying, Decoy, we need to bring, if you have your mic on, Decoy, I would like to bring you in because you've had a lot of hot takes in chat tonight, and you need to answer for them. No, I'm joking. I just would like to get you on. Is Game of the Year material? Probably think Among Us deserves.
I think it means Among Us.
Among Us.
Yeah.
I was like,
hey, a lot of people like Among Us though. So
I think Among Us, yeah, or Fall Guys. Like you see, Fast I have a guy named Fast who's like, well, he comes into every single stream every single week to ask me when I'm doing a Fall Guys tournament.
Yeah.
So there you go, y'all who do not think people play Fall Guys. Fast plays Fall Guys. And we also have another one, Robertson. He also is a Fall Guys guy.
That's another thing is that I rarely like to comment on whether or not a game is actually good or bad if I've never played it myself. And I'm just saying, like, for example, something like Balatro or any of the other games that I haven't played, I'm not going to say they're good or bad because I don't know. But I'm just kind of talking about what I've heard people say, right?
No worries. And, well, Mel, thank you so much for joining. But before you leave, what's going to be your next game you're going to review?
Right now I'm working on the Lego Horizon one, and then after that I should be right onto Dragon Age the Veilguard.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I can't wait till I'm curious what you're going to say. I've been waiting for your review.
Yeah, it's been a long game. It's not technically that long a game, but it felt so long. Anyway, you'll see what I mean.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you all.
Thank you for
Extra Life Reviews, guys. My favorite game reviewer out there, Extra Life. Thanks for coming on, Mel.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Later.
Catch you later.
Y'all, that's Mel. So we had FCAT. In FCAT, you're going to hear more from FCAT in 2 weeks. We'll do his Shades of Purple episode. You're going to learn all about him. It's kind of why I didn't want to. Y'all got to know FCAT. And then obviously you heard Mel. He had his Shades of Purple a few months back. Amazing person. Great takes on gaming. Knows quite a bit about it. Really trust his opinion on things. So I really appreciate that. But now, coming from the other side of the world, we have Holtz.
The other side of the pond, at least. Not the other side of the world.
It's the other side.
The Western Hemisphere, you know.
Holtz, what's going on?
I'm all good. I'm all good. Loving the guests. I tuned in thinking, I'm going to watch FCAT's interview. I wanted to hear his
Oh,
nitty-gritty stories about his gaming. Thought this is going to be interesting. But I'm here for the support and listen to other people talk about the controversy this week.
no, yeah, I meant to. So FCAT was gonna come on, and that's my fault. That I came in this, and I was like, I haven't reached out to FCAT at all, and so I would do FCAT. So FCAT was supposed to come on, y'all. I'm gonna bring FCAT on. I would bring him on next week, but it's Thanksgiving. That's not fair to FCAT to pull him away from his family. So we're gonna bring him on in 2 weeks on Thursday. 2 weeks from now, FCAT's episode will be
So
there.
Thanksgiving's next Thursday.
Thanksgiving's next Thursday. Yeah.
I'm always jealous of you guys' food and the holiday and the spirit. Always makes me jealous.
Well, you can always do the same thing.
Well, I'm doing that every single day. I just love the idea of people go big with everything. Extra food, store it in the fridge for the next day, and you're eating the same stuff for 4 days afterwards.
Oh, I hear you.
Here we do it for Christmas. So
No, well, you can do it turkey. So Holtz, what do you think about these controversies?
I love it. It doesn't really affect me, but I just love tuning in to see the drama, and I just hear people complain because I'm the type of gamer that, even though it's not my game, I still respect games. I love hearing different people's opinions, but when I hear everyone get up in arms on, social media going, "Oh my god, that game should never be Game of the Year," I'm like, so what? What's your problem? Go and do your own game awards. Leave Jeff Keighley alone. Leave all the other people.
So I have I was talking Holtz. I don't think you may have been on, but about a week and a half ago, I did like a random stream on Saturday, and I was talking about how I feel like the gaming industry is in a midlife crisis. You know what I mean? And I don't quite like. So many people get upset about the game awards, and it's like, why? I mean, this happens with the Academy Awards. This happens with the Grammys. I don't think this happens with the Emmys as much because I don't think people watch the Emmys, which are like the TV Grammys. Don't shoot me
We have
off.
the BAFTAs over here.
What's that?
The BAFTAs.
The BAFTAs. Yeah.
The British Award Film Television Awards. That includes
But I
gaming.
don't understand it. It's like, it's like it's obviously the people who are judging this have some, I don't know.
Well, I think what it is I think a lot of gamers in today's social sphere pretend that they know better than the next gamer, instead of just relaxing and listen to opinions. So a lot of people go to these outlets are corrupt, or this panel's corrupt. They're not true gamers. Then you have to ask yourself what defines a true gamer: the amount of games you play, the amount of hours you put in, your talent to review a game, the talent to respect different, accolades of a game. So mechanics, graphics, music, characters. What makes you say that your opinion is better than someone else's?
No, I totally. And thank you so much for that, Geek. Thank you. Thank you to everybody who became a member today. I have not. I am very appreciative of that, and as y'all know, it goes right back to y'all. I do my giveaways once a month. I try to give it back to y'all. But yeah, I think. But I think there's this movement, right, where we're leaning away from expertise. Like everybody's questioning, why is someone an expert, right? We see this in politics, we see this in business, we see it everywhere. With games, like I can understand, right, that we can play a game and we can say like, hey, this is my opinion on it. But I think Decoy was hitting on this like last week sometime, this idea about why we need to have other people think like we think.
Well, I've always put in chat, like, I never want people to represent me. I don't want people to think like me because I don't want to play a game about me. I always want to play a game with far-fetched ideas, different characters, different escapism. That's gaming to me. So when someone wants to try and relate to me, I'm like, nah, okay, I'll pass. And I think the problem is a lot of people are looking at the industry now, because it was someone from Ubisoft last week said that they delayed Assassin's Creed Shadow because they had too many junior developers on board. Did you hear that one?
No, I didn't hear that. Say that again.
They had too many junior developers on board.
For Assassin's Creed Shadow.
Yeah, and he just said, and that's what people are seeing that is affecting games. So,
but here's my thing, and so
okay. what is the person mentioned, like, you know, what's juniors? Juniors can still bring talents. They just came from an industry or a university, and now they're creating games, deserve to be there. Or are we just looking at the elitist of what we knew? And sadly, all our artists and musicians and people who created games are getting older now, or they're even dead. You know what I mean? So it's like we always can't just rely on their imagination, should I say, from 30, 40 years ago. The industry has to evolve, and as gamers, we have to jump on board and go with them, or sadly, step away from gaming.
Yeah. I mean, I think for me, the way I look at it is, so this is my logic. Like, and I kind of said this before. It's like if we take Nickelodeon, okay? The channel Nickelodeon. People over the last 30, 40 years have watched Nickelodeon grow up. People have eventually went on to watch other things. They went to go watch The Simpsons. They went to go watch Dawson's Creek. They went to go watch, I'm dating myself with that one, but they went to go watch something else. Eventually they ended up on like Showtime or HBO or like something else. But they don't go back to Nickelodeon and be like, Nickelodeon, you're not making Game of Thrones. You're making stupid Rugrats with weird heads. But in gaming, what we do is we say no. Like, we look at these companies that were like making games for kids or for adolescents, adults, and we're like, yo, you need to be growing up with us. It's weird to me.
Well, the biggest one in me in the gaming is Kojima. When Kojima left Konami got rid of Kojima, people was like, I'm never going to play another Metal Gear Solid game ever again. And that wasn't me. I was like, bye, Kojima. Thanks for your talent. Go and enjoy your studio. And the next Metal Gear Solid comes out, I'm going to play a Konami game. That's how simple it was. I had no loyalty to the developer or the team, and I'm carrying on with gaming. But I can understand how so many people get hurt, because that's why they played games, because sometimes they do lean in too much to the developing team or the representation of the team, PR team, or something like that. And that's not me. Every time something comes out, I want to go forward, never backwards.
I guess. I hear. No, I think, yeah. But that's what I'm saying. I think gaming has a midlife crisis problem. Like, when I deal with, and some of them are not some of y'all in chat are around this age, right?
It's not just gaming. It's also like, if you see it in music, you see a lot of artists saying, well, if you love our music, like say like Linkin Park, you go, you can enjoy Hybrid Theory from 2000s, and there's nothing wrong with that, or you can move with us to the latest album. Some people go, I want to be stuck in the 2000s, there's a happier time. Same with anime. People go, well, I want to stuck with Dragon Ball Z, Kojima years ago, for example, Toyama years ago, and they just don't want to move on with the next thing. And that's okay. You can be stuck with your media, music, movies, games. But I think it's sad if you don't at least give someone a chance.
No, I totally. Yeah. I don't know. I think, like I said, I think there's like a demographic of like 35 to 55-year-old men, not y'all, but there's like this.
I don't fall in that one.
Certain segment of that middle-aged man who's like, I want to go back to my past. I want to go back to this other time, and it's just not realistic.
Well, I was mentioning in chat, and I've mentioned on a few podcasts, that why I'm dropping out of gaming is because I feel like I love remasters. I love remakes. I love the idea of all my iconic games coming back for today's generation, today's younger audience, so they can play the best games like Final Fantasy VII, Metal Gear Solid, Dead Space. But I feel, sadly, I've put 30 years plus into gaming that it's not new. So when I play like Mortal Kombat 1 or Tekken and this, I go, seen it all before, done that, and it doesn't feel as fresh. Now, I can go back and chase the nostalgia, but sometimes I'm like, well, I want to move forward. But you can't always create new ideas. Sometimes you have to lean back in your back catalogue and just go, okay, let's remake that. And that's fine. But sadly, I won't be the gamer going forward. I have to put my hands up and say, it was
I
a roll.
think that's most people. I think that's most people, but I think now we have this thing where the people who get the loudest voice are the people who are disagreeing, who are creating.
They've got the loudest voice because they've got more time to speak and waste. You know what I mean? Real gamers are not wasting the time on social media. We're playing games, aren't we?
So Holtz, question to you: do you think this whole movement of this whole thing about go woke, go broke? There's like a whole movement of people who are like, if a game has been, if a studio collaborated with a company called Sweet Baby Inc., they're like, we're axing out that game. Do you think that has had an impact on gaming or not an impact on gaming?
I think it has impacted a certain demographic of gamers. I think they sit there and go, no, that's it. I've drawn the line there. But to me, I'm like, no, the industry's still going to go on without them, should I say.
Do you think it's a small group of people?
I can sit there and I can talk about like playing female characters. So it's like Final Fantasy X Part 2. Amazing game with 3 female protagonists. No one cared back then. Great game. I can sit there and talk about a lot of stuff. And I just feel that it's people are only complaining now because they've got a social platform to complain. But I feel like if developers just stand to what they want to make, right, and promote the game, the new generation of gamers, they're just going to get used to that new standard. And it's only us older gamers that are going to complain and go, what about our nostalgia? What about me and my money? But the kids are going to come up with new ways to express, new ways to play, new ways to spend. And that's in everything. That's in music, movies, and games.
It happens with everything. It happens with, to your point, it happens like...
I've seen a lot of things in cinema get called woke. I went to cinema with my family, watched it, and I've came back with my own decision, and I don't even know why people are complaining on the internet. You got my money, my reviews in between, and it's great, and it helps the industry. But these people that are just wasting time on the internet complaining, they were never probably going to buy the game in the first place. They're like, Dragon Age. Oh God, I'm never going to play that game because... Have you ever played the last Dragon Ages? No, but this one I'm not going to play. You ain't going to play them anyway.
But then you have... So then you have the situation... Okay, I totally agree. Right? I think it's impacted, and Decoy said it's impacted the conversation on gaming more than gaming. The conversation on gaming more than gaming. But then you have situations like... A game I'm gonna probably buy when it comes out, just because I like stories. I like the game mechanics of this series, which is Assassin's Creed, right?
Mm-hmm.
They pushed back the game because a lot of the controversy surrounding the game, and now you've pushed it back to potentially it's gonna like butt right into like Ghost of Yokti.
But the whole point is I was saying this about Assassin's Creed releasing this time of year. I feel like I've already, if it came out this time of year, I've got too many action stealth games to play that I wasn't really interested in Assassin's Creed. I had too many open world games that I said to you, I'm going to put Assassin's Creed on the back burner because I'm fatigued by open world. Not that I don't love Assassin's Creed, I just feel like I've played so many Japanese open world games now that sadly, now's the time I can play Assassin's Creed set in Japan, and it was going to release this year, surrounded by other games. And it wasn't that it was a bad idea, it was just I had other games to play.
Yeah, other games. So you're okay with the delay. I'm okay with the delay. I just want to say that. Like
to
me it's
great. I'm fine.
Yeah, to me I asked the question just because it's like I believe like the conversation around gaming is now impacting game development. Like that's where I get it. If you now have people who are saying don't do this, don't do that, it's creating this huge uproar. And I think it is having an impact on what's getting greenlit, what's not, what stories are going forward, like what are media outlets trying to say, right? Because media, let's be very honest, like I'm not a huge, I do this because I like to do this. I like to talk to people. I like to connect to people about gaming. There's other people who do this and they're going for clicks. What sells is the controversy. controversy sells, you start to inform public, and now that's what becomes the discourse. And it could be anything. Like, it could be Call of Duty sucks. Call of Duty is awesome. It
this
could be like everything now.
This is why I don't trust a lot of YouTubers or content creators that are sponsored by it, because they'll say Assassin's Creed, the best Assassin's Creed ever. They'll play it for like a few hours to get their sponsorship money, and they'll move on. But that video will be there, creating controversy and stuff like that, and they don't really care. So I feel sorry for some of the developers at times, or the marketing team, because sometimes you can put a really good video out with good intent, and someone just slanders it down because they see it in a different optic.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. Like I said, I continue. This is why I say the games that I like. I tell y'all what it is. It's the games I play a ton. I tell you why I like them. And then there's really popular games I don't like.
Like, it's so funny because you've seen the Xbox advert, isn't it? This is an Xbox. This is an Xbox. Everything's an Xbox. And it's so funny reading the comments and people go, "Who gives a crap? Xbox is crap anyway." And you go, "You've missed the message in here. It's trying to evolve, and everything's an Xbox. So you're not going to shout at your telly and go, 'That's crap.' You're not going to shout at your iPad, 'That's crap,' your laptop." But because Xbox just does a bit of marketing saying everything's an Xbox, it's funny seeing how something can get turned on its head.
No, I think it's an Xbox is a great look. I've said it before. I think they're eventually going to find that they have to put their stuff everywhere. Like, right. And I think it's great. I think, like I said, I'm just waiting for Ori to find when Ori gets on PlayStation, then I can die happy. Even though I have it like on everything else, I just want it on PlayStation. That's it. But no, I hear you. It's just, I don't know. I went down that rabbit hole just because, like I said, I'm looking forward to the Game Awards. Why? Because I like to see what's coming out. I also like to see people get awarded for their hard work. I think it's and it's a cool time. I think Mel hit the nail on the head. It's a cool time for gamers to come together to celebrate gaming, right? And
if that's the case, my negative thing about the Game Awards, why are they fast tracking? Why are they speeding up certain parts of the game show? If we're all supposed to be in
that's what Mel asked.
Happiness, that we're all going to celebrate these accolades in gaming, why is Jeff Keighley and his marketing team said, "You know what? These awards ain't gonna matter." And it's like they're disrespecting our time, so why should we respect his time? When should we tune in to watch it? I might as well just not watch the show and just go on a YouTube video of Purple A's talking about a recap. I might as well
I
do
think
that.
you're right. I think half the categories they just speed right through it. And
because so when you sit down to the Game of the Year awards, it usually like graphic fidelity or performance or bestseller. But then what about all the other accolades that we care about? Just getting fast forwarded.
No, they do this to the esports teams. They do this to Content Creator of the Year. Depending on the game, they'll do this best score. They've done that. They sped through that, which I care a lot about.
Mm-hmm.
Indie Game of the Year. I care about that one a lot. No, I agree. They speed right through it. And it's odd because the Game Awards, it's 30 categories, and the Game Awards is like 3.5 hours.
I like what you done last year doing the blind test of the soundtrack, and you said, "Does this sound like a Tears of the Kingdom? Does this sound like Alan Wake 2? Does this sound like?" And it was like, if you didn't know the name, what would you vote for?
Yeah, I need to look at the sound. That's actually the one category where I will play a game just to like listen to what is. That's the best score is probably my favorite category. It just is. Because now that I just found out Hans Zimmer had a game this year. What? It's ridiculous. Hans Zimmer. If y'all don't know movies, you're like, Purple, who the hell's Hans Zimmer? Like, just go look up Hans Zimmer and look at the stuff he's on. It's like John Williams. Like those two names are like equivalent heavyweights.
Do you think they do it intentionally though? Sometimes, like Jeff Keighley, he's just smart. He just knows that without controversy and debate, people won't even watch the awards anyway. So do you think he does it intentionally to provoke? You know, bad press isn't better than no press.
It's a good question.
He's just doing it to rally up, and in the end, we all tune in anyway. Doesn't matter where we tune in, live, snippets on YouTube, whatever. And we always go, we knew that was going to win. We put a comment. We hit the. Some people hit the thumbs down, but it still helps the algorithm. Money
So
made.
I think Jeff Keighley does it. I think the most controversial thing Jeff Keighley did, is my opinion, and people aren't talking about it, but I guarantee you, if this had happened like 5 years ago, it would have been controversial. Is adding Black Myth Wukong into the mix. And the reason I say that is just because of the competition between China and the US. And I think him letting Black Myth Wukong in with scores that, look, I think the scores were biased, but supposedly it's the lowest nominated game ever to make Game of the Year. I think that's like, each of the games could be controversial. You know what I mean? But I think Decoy says it right. There's no... Everything's biased. Like even the Academy Awards, it's biased, right?
Well, one of my favorite controversy was last year. Is the voice actor of Kratos? He came on and actually said, "Oh, my last year's speech was longer than the Call of Duty campaign." I thought it was funny, and everyone got up and all. You can't say that Call of Duty is an amazing game, but like the story was like 6 hours long. And if you go back to the Order 1886, just like 9 years ago, you would have bashed the game for being 6 hours. So why can't we just joke about the length of a game? And he got told off for saying stuff like that because it's all about the market and it's all about the money.
Well, I mean, but if you think about it, most award shows are struggling. Like right now, like who watches the Grammys anymore? It struggles. Who watches the Tonys? Whoever watched the Tonys?
You know why I don't watch the Grammys or the Oscars anymore?
Why?
Back in the day, and this, you can write this to gaming. Back in the day, we used to get magazines and gossip magazines, and we used to look at these actors and actresses, and we used to go, "Wow, everything's so luxurious, everything's so fancy. Wow, wish I was there." And then now we got social media. I'm just hearing all the drama about actors and actresses' lives, development statements and stuff, and it makes me go, I'm not really interested now. It's took the mystique away from the awards ceremony because I'm constantly hearing it all year round. That's why I don't follow all that stuff anymore.
Well, I mean, now you have like it's what is a celebrity? Hey, wait, Astrobot 6 hours? No, it's not. Is Astrobot 6 hours, y'all?
Yeah, and it's got replayability, hasn't it? With like the new skin.
Astrobot is 6 hours? No, it's not, Holtz. I thought it was like 10 to 15.
It depends how. See, this is the issue. It depends how fast you run through it. A developer can actually say this game is so long. If you do the extras and you do this and you do all this incentive.
See, now this starts to run into my question about why, if Astrobot is seriously 6 hours, but then because one of my criticisms about Hellblade, that's a different.
See, I'm not the type of gamer where I respect it when someone actually says, you spend so many dollars going to the cinema watching a 2-hour movie, so why couldn't you put that same amount of dollars to experience in a computer game? I respect that idea.
Yeah, I think the pricing on computer games is weird. Like, I continue to say, like, Breath of the Wild at $60, and then you're going to sell me...
No, I don't need...
Wonder at 60.
I don't need a 60 hours Assassin's Creed Shadow when you fill 30 hours that with grinding crap. That's where I don't know. Just give me the progression.
Rudix, what's going on? We were just talking. Rudix, you missed our conversation earlier. Remakes and remasters. I know that's like an 18-month-old conversation between you and I, but you missed that one. Yeah, I don't know. I think like the pricing in games, what's enjoyable. Like because y'all are making me nervous because that means if the Order 1886 is truly a 5-hour game, that means I only have like 2 hours left in the game. And my criticism of Hellblade 2 has not to do with the game length, it has to do with the gameplay. And I stand by mine.
Well, see, it goes back when you look at the old 1886, lovely music, amazing voice actor, Graphic fidelity was amazing. Mechanics were great. And then I feel because it didn't represent what first-person shooters were being like because of Call of Duty, I feel like the marketing just went, if you had to buy one game, what do you buy? Call of Duty.
Yeah, but the Order 1886, I just think the order, I don't know.
So then what happened was that started the snowball effect where
Oh,
developers were like, okay, we're going to stop doing we're going to stop doing story modes. We're going to focus online. And then that's where live services came in. And you realize there's a backlash between that because people want story-driven games with online mechanics. You don't want one or the other. They want both.
That's fair. That's fair.
So I don't know. So if I was a developer, I would offer you 6-10 hours and an online experience. I think that's good bang for your buck.
So now we're trying to get shorter games.
Shorter games if you cut the fluff out. You know what I mean? I don't want grinds. Right. I don't want... If you're going to give me extras, let me find the extras. Let me have replayability. But please don't let me just spend... Like, that's the problem with Assassin's Creed, the last 3 of them. I'm doing great. I'm progressing. Then after they throw 20, 30 hours where I have to just level up. They expand the gap, level gap, and I feel like I'm just... And it makes me not like the game. Because time's precious, so I feel like giving me a 10-hour experience, we'll enjoy it. And then if I replay it, or there's extras, I'll put extra time at a later date.
Wow, Oxenfree.
Oxenfree is cool.
You're talking about Oxenfree. Decoy, you're about to be in that category of people who who plays like everything. Oxenfree, I didn't know that. Wow. Okay, I saw Ninja Guy Ninja Guy VR play Oxenfree when it was on Netflix Gaming.
That's the sequel, wasn't it?
Oxenfree 2.
Yeah.
It's about a radio. It was about radio something. It was like a radio. I watched him for like at least 2 playthroughs play this game. Or not playthrough, but 2 whole sessions. Just because it was like an interesting story to me. So interesting. Oxenfree, okay. If it's good, it's good regardless of time. I agree. Like, I don't think it has to do with time. I think it has to do with playing. So, Order 1886. I think it's cool. I like the story. I like the game mechanics. It's bringing me along.
And the time the Order 1886 came out, I feel like a lot of gamers was using that word cinematic. Oh, it's more of a watch along than play along. So.
Which I guess, I mean, but then you have the games like, what is it? Like the game I want to play Erica, or there's another game, and we have FCAT coming back. So, Holt, I'm going to bring FCAT back.
It just makes sense. I just love the game that goes cinematic, 40-minute gameplay, cinematic, 40-minute gameplay. I just love all that stop, start, stop, start. You can't have too much mechanics, gameplay, and you can't have too much cinematics, so you have to find that hidden spot in between.
I agree. I'm okay with both. But Holtz, thanks for coming on. We're going to bring on FCAT here, and I think FCAT's going to take us home. All right.
Hi, Holt.
All right, later, Holtz, and that is Holtz, everybody, from the other side of the pond, as he says. FCAT, what's going on?
Chilling. I'm glad Holtz brought up the whole woke thing.
I don't know if Holtz brought it up. Okay, go ahead, FCAT. What do you have?
Right now, the game being attacked is south of midnight because
I think that's horrible. So
Sweet Baby,
Sweet Baby.
Yeah.
I keep wanting to say Sweet Baby Ray, but I think that's a barbecue sauce.
Yeah. So the issue is they're claiming race swap in the Deep South, which is completely and utterly stupid to me because I live here in the Deep South, and it makes so much sense for this chick to be a black girl.
I think what's FMV?
Because even Princess and Frog, Disney meant for Tiana to be the very first, black Disney princess, and that movie was great Southern, representation.
Well, hold on, FCAT. Okay. you're look, Princess and the Frog is good, but she's a frog for 90% of the movie.
Right. But
Like, that's
she
the
is
criticism.
the first black Disney
She is
princess.
the first black princess. Yes, you're right. You're right. 100%.
Yeah, it's so dumb. They're claiming this race swap thing from
No.
they're getting it off of concept art because the concept art looks kind of like a white girl, but you can't really tell.
Look, here's so I think what's gonna start to happen, and I already kind of am doing it, right? Because there's bigger content creators out there who I see put out stuff and they try to do this like innocent, and I'm not talking like these are grown men. All right. Like, and I say when you get above 40, I consider you grown. Like 30s,
Right.
maybe, but 40, you're like grown. You know what you're doing. And these are grown men, and they're trying to do this innocent thing, and they're really what they're doing is like attacking anything that has
Right.
any representation, any
And if it fails or goes their way, they claim
yeah,
a
then
win.
they attack
Like
it.
they
Look at
even
that.
claimed a win with Trump women winning the election. They claimed a win with that.
Well, yeah, I'm not even going to get in politics, but I am going to talk about like, and so I am going to start going on like the offensive with some of these people. And so, like, I'm waiting for South of Midnight, right? Because you have a game that's based upon basically, let's be very honest here. The soundtrack to that should be amazing. It's going to be based upon like Delta blues and
Oh,
some
yeah.
form of jazz, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Both of those are, yes, uniquely American, but both of those are also very uniquely originating out of like the Black slave tradition, right?
Right.
So that's going to be hard. You have South of Midnight that's also very much around like Creole culture.
Right.
Creole culture is a conglomeration or like multitudes of cultures,
The,
right? And
the
so
crazy thing is
I'm
like
getting heated.
our culture around here in New Orleans, like Marie Laveau and like the Voodoo Queen. The Voodoo Queen was black.
Yes, voodoo, yes, voodoo is.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get you, FCAT. Look, I'm just telling y'all, like, come next year, I'm gonna
We
run.
we were once
I'm
called the
resting.
Chocolate City by Mayor Ray Nagin during Katrina.
Look, I'm just letting y'all know, FCAT. If they go after, look, y'all already know. I don't really cheer for Xbox,
It's ridiculous.
but when it comes to that game, it's a cool art style. Looks like it's cool music. It's
Oh,
looking
yeah,
like it's bringing something
you
very
saw the
uniquely,
documentary?
like American.
Yeah, you saw
America.
the documentary.
And because it's like I don't get it, Sweet Baby, because like they're making this company literally works on the narrative of a game. Like, when have you ever heard of the writers of a game dictating the game? Actually,
So this is funny. So they worked Kim, whatever her name is, the CEO, apparently wrote for Unknown Nine Awakening. Well, if you play Unknown Nine Awakening, there's absolutely nothing woke about it. But they shuttered it and attacked it and all this stuff and said it was woke, and the game flopped and it failed, right? Well, now the studio's being laid off, and they're like, oh yeah, Sweet Baby Inc. Whatever they touch,
look,
turns to trash.
I mean, I don't know. So I would say this, like, I don't know. I don't know anybody who works at Sweet Baby Inc. I don't follow consulting firms like this.
Right.
I think it's just weird. Now, if they do bad work, like if they write bad, right? That's one thing, and they won't be in business for a long time. But from what I look at, they do like accessibility testing, and they consult on writing. And
Right.
I'll be very clear, like I think sometimes writing is hilariously bad. Like from like just whether it's from a woman's perspective, like a person of color's perspective, even a military perspective, sometimes it's like, this is dumb. So I'm okay if like you're saying like, hey, we don't have anybody on our staff who can bring that to life, but we can hire someone. So I'm okay with that. I'm not okay if you're like just forcing things just to force it, which I think most people would say that, right? But don't worry. Like I said, I'm resting right now. There's a lot of stuff, and these are grown-ups. Like I said, they think they're being slick, but I think like 2025, like people are I'm going to go on the offensive. That's all I'm gonna say. let me see what some of these people have to say. Desert apple pie, but I usually buy. Oh, okay,
Did you
I was thinking about
watch
this.
the South of Midnight documentary?
What's that?
Did you see the documentary for South of
I have
Midnight?
not, because I feel like Microsoft or Xbox does this a lot. They make documentaries about video games, and I'd rather just see the game.
It's actually pretty good because they actually go to the New Orleans area, to the swamps, and things like that, and they get a feel and the vibe of everything. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's how you
You're
do
right.
it.
You're from Louisiana, right?
Yeah,
You're from Louisiana. I thought that.
yeah.
Obviously, my dad's grandmother is from Louisiana. So I have some roots there. And all right, I may watch it. I'm just like, they did a documentary on Hellblade. They did a documentary on Starfield. They did a documentary on Redfall. They do a documentary for everything, and I'm like, stop showing me documentaries. Like that's my whole thing with Xbox.
The Xbox lineup is looking great because Stalker 2 is broken, and
Imagine a 13-year-old interested in a game because it looks cool and being told that the game sucks because the culture or diversity or characters were race swapped. I agree, but I agree with that, Decoy, but I don't know how much that. Here's the thing. I don't know how much that's happened, but I also believe that's happened many more times as well the other way around. Right? I don't think any of it's right. But I think it's like even more problematic. So I'll tell you all about FK, do you know who the Tuskegee Airmen are?
yeah.
Okay. There was a movie that came out like 10 years ago called Red Tails.
Right.
All right. From Disney. And the movie is based upon a true story. There's this book called Invisible Generals, and the guy whose grandfather created the Tuskegee Airmen was portrayed in Red Tails. But they switched the name out. They switched like a lot of his bio out to where they don't even use the guy's real name. And so like this, and I got to talk to this guy. The book's called Invisible Generals, and the author of that, I actually know him and everything. Anyway, when people talk about race swapping in games, a lot of times they're talking like fictitious things. That's like, well, why couldn't it be like a gay character here? Or why could it not be a woman? Or why could it not be something? But historically, this has been happening in other forms of media for a long time.
Right.
This isn't like the first time,
Right.
So,
and nobody had a problem with it.
Yeah, that's
before.
why that's where I kind of lean. Like, no one had a problem with it then. Like, no one has a problem with Jack Daniels, the beer, or the
Right.
whiskey. Sorry.
I mean, it all started, if you remember, it all started with Pepe Le Pew. They wanted to cancel Pepe Le Pew and Speedy Gonzalez and Dr. Seuss and all this.
I prefer air fried crispy turkey. No, I don't know what they're talking about now.
It's
But
like
yeah,
it was like everything we grew up on. Like they were like, "Oh no, it's woke. It should be canceled."
yeah. I mean, if this has been going on for a long, I guess that's my other thing. And so, I think when it comes to Sesame Street, is
Right.
actually super woke, right?
Right.
Like Rugrat, like everything. Like this is always, I don't know, since like
Barney.
This has always been a thing. I think in video games, though, the problem I have is I think there's a legit criticism to be had when it is certain, like when you're forcing the character. It's like, no, this isn't realistic. So there's a TV show I'm watching on Amazon. I keep forgetting the name, but it takes a place after the Russian Revolution, and it has this prince or the count or something. He gets put in like basically house arrest. His best friend is supposedly like this black guy who he went to college with. Now this is like not realistic, right? Like that, I'm like, yeah, you kind of like, you kind of pushed it, but the acting's still good. You know what I mean?
Right.
But at the same time, it's like, how can I criticize that? A fictitious story, but I'm not going to criticize. What's the thing where Tom Cruise is a ninja? The Last Samurai. He's a samurai. He's not a ninja. Sorry, Ghost of Tsushima people. He's not a ninja. I don't know. Maybe I'm off. I don't know. I just know I think there's some bad faith actors out there who are trying to act super innocent. And I'm gonna go after them.
Fictional characters, people. It's like, get over it. Jesus.
And I'm gonna go after him, FCAT. That's all I'm telling you. I'm gonna go after him. Like I said, one of them right now, like
they need to get shut down because like Grums and all them.
No, like yeah, well, yeah, like no.
Steam curator created against Sweet Baby and all the woke games.
I'm going on the attack, y'all. I'm just letting you know. I'm going on the. I'm not gonna like. I think there's legit criticisms to be had, but I think there's also times where it seems like if it's just anything that's like a woman character, character of color, a character of a different sexual orientation, they're just gonna hate on the game. Like in what pissed me off was Zal Tales of Kinzara. That's when I started realizing, like, yo, you went too far. Like,
right?
Yeah, like that is a cool game. The dude is literally making a game about his father passing away. It's about death. It's about like in a certain thing, and y'all are gonna like, no, all right, okay.
I mean, they tracked it, back. I think it was Suicide Squad. Suicide Squad. When that failed, they researched into it and they found Sweet Baby, and it stuck out like a sore thumb to them. So they started, researching what games they'd made. Like Forspoken was one of them.
But that's another game. Okay, Decoy. Decoy's played every game. Decoy's Forspoken a bad game?
No.
You like it. Cowboy liked it. TK9 said it's a pretty cool game. And that's a perfect. Now, the cutscenes I've seen have nothing to do with being diverse or not. They seem like voice acting.
A lot of people didn't like it just because it kind of is pretty, mediocre, I guess.
Yeah, like I've heard the voice acting was bad, but like as far as like parkouring and doing hack and slash, I think that's a cool game.
Right. Remind me a lot of Kingdom Hearts.
Kingdom Hearts, yes. So Decoy's saying it's a bad game. Decoy said it's a bad game. It's bad, and I have played it. So Decoy's saying Forspoken's bad. What made it bad? So FCAT,
I don't see what made it bad.
What did you like about it?
Everything. Like, I like this. I think it was probably because I played Immortals of Avium first, and then I played Forspoken. And Forspoken reminded me of the story, kind of the same vibe, like magical world. This person is in this magical world, and they gotta save it, kind of thing. So I kind of got the same vibe off of it, and I liked it. I mean,
so I like you played Immortals of Avium. That's the one with the hand, right? That's a first-person game, right?
Yeah.
What's the one I'm thinking about where they're like gliding on sand? It's not that one.
Atlas Fallen.
Atlas Fallen. I played probably half of that game. And that's the kind of like, but even Atlas Fallen, I thought Atlas Fallen wasn't that bad of a game. I don't know. I just need a story. No difficulty. So he's saying it's too linear. It's no difficulty. Interesting. That's the thing. I'm gonna have to play. I'm gonna play it, and I'll let y'all know. I'm gonna do my normal thing. If it doesn't grip me immediately, I'm gonna play for probably an hour after that. And if it still doesn't grip me, I usually stop after that. If it doesn't grip me in the first like hour to 2 hours, I'm like, it's not gonna. I'm not gonna. Gameplay feels like something you expect from a 2010 game. So he's criticizing the gameplay, which I respect that, Decoy. I respect that that's what you're criticizing. But I think there's other games where, like I said, Zal Tales of Kanzara, I thought that was like, is it the hardest Metroidvania? No. Like, that's not a hard one. Is it, like, it is a pretty game. I thought it had a decent story at it. And maybe it's just because I get sentimental about stories about death. Now, like, after, like, losing my father, like, there's something that I can see about that. So there's something like I like anything about life, or like how you're taking care of people, or your obligations, or dealing with the fact that maybe things haven't went the way you thought they were gonna go. Like, I don't know. Those stories resonate with me now. Game sucked, but Sweet Baby and Kiss and White. I agreed. Okay, Dick. I'm gonna have to play it. I'm gonna play it. I'm gonna play it.
Yeah.
FK,
I mean,
what are you playing right
look
now?
at Concord. Look at Concord. That had nothing to do with Sweet
Concord.
Baby.
Here's my
But,
thing with Concord.
It had, the rainbows, the pronouns, and the trans characters, and the.
Here, the thing about Concord is I saw Concord for the very first time at this year's Summer's Game Fest. I didn't know what it was. I thought it was like some form. What is the Marvel game? Or there's a comic book.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Is it Guardians of the Galaxy? There's some comic book movie, and I thought it was that.
Right.
And then it was like, it's not that. And so then it's like, it's an arena shooter. And anytime I see arena shooters, I'm like, okay, like, do we need another one? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
and I could say the same thing about first-person shooters. Like, do we need another one? So I just thought that one was bad. Now, FCAT, here's the thing, since you brought up Concord. You know the Amazon TV series Extra Level, or whatever it's called?
Secret Level, yeah, they're
Secret
still going
Level?
to air it.
One of the episodes is on Concord. What do you think about that?
They're still going to show it. They claim they don't know why they shut it down, because they thought that the characters were pretty unique and interesting.
Yeah,
But,
and we'll
I
say
mean-
goodbye to Rouster. We'll probably shut this down in the next 5 minutes show. I know it's going late. Usually I like to only do 2 hours, but wanted to bring FCAT back on.
Yeah, but Balatro, that's like a poker game. They people claim that it's like crack, and that's why it's so popular.
Here's the thing, y'all. If I go buy Balatro right now for $14, now don't get me wrong, like I will spend like $14 on a bag of chips if I really want it, right?
Right.
But there's something about, like, if I go spend $14 on Balatro, I guess I have to, because it's a Game of the Year contender. All of them I've at least tried to like demo the game, or except for Balatro. I will do it.
So they got the Wukong on PlayStation trial right now, and I played it for a little bit, and I was like, I can see what people saw in this game. I actually was kind of digging it, but I was like, the aim's kind of off with the melee, and I was like, I don't know.
Like I like hack and slash, so I like stories. I'll say this about Wukong. I don't think the story is very you have to have some backstory. So I continue to say it. Wukong made me to go look up stuff, and it made me enjoy the game more. The more I went back to look at things and come back and do that, I enjoyed it more. But as it stands as a game by itself, the story isn't like, it's not very continuous. Also, like, once you kind of understand your fighting style, you can basically handle almost any boss in that game.
Right.
Which it's going to take you a while to get to that, but once you do get there, you're good. But I still think it's pretty cool to bring out a staff. I thought that was interesting. It's not a sword. And then there are some rough spots, like especially like the open world, like the 6th chapter. I thought that was I didn't like the gameplay of that chapter.
Yeah.
But yeah, you have the flip side with people trying to overhype or say games are good because they're just trying to push back. Yeah, I agree. And that's why I like Mel's reviews. I trust the people here who like Decoy. Now that I know you play games, and I'm sorry if I ever just said you're first person shooter, I understand you're more than that. Like y'all's opinions matter. That's why I asked FCAT. FCAT always is on to certain games that no one's talking about. Banishers, Ghost of New Eden,
Yep.
you know.
That one flopped.
But that's a good game. I think the story in Banishers is a good story.
Right.
But it didn't do well, you know?
Right.
So I don't know.
Yeah, and that's what I'm worried about with South of Midnight. It's not going to do well on Steam.
I'll buy it. South of Midnight, I'm going to buy.
It's going to get attacked big time, but it's probably be a generally good game.
Cowboy, FK, you see Cowboy said he's messaged you. Aw, there you go, y'all. Cowboy and FCAT combined.
Just waiting for that man to get his stuff together and get the podcast going. Not missing out on a bunch of news the past 2 weeks.
Well, we'll get you, FCAT. We're gonna get you your shades of purple, and we're gonna do it however you want to do it.
Right.
So if you want to do it as like you do it, Cowboy, we can do it that way. If you want to do like your own gaming story, we can do it that way. It's however you want to do it.
We'll just do it like your usual shades of purple. I'll talk about past gaming experiences and things like that.
Sounds good. No, I totally hear you, Cowboy. Totally hear you. Well, y'all, that's the show. Thank you for staying with me. I know we ran late today.
All right.
But thank you for FCAT. Thank you, Holt. Thank you, Mel. Thank you, everybody who came on. I will be streaming Order 1886. I'm also playing a ton of X Defiant from now through the weekend as well. Also, we'll probably be jumping back into Banishers here pretty soon, as well as Kanutsugami, Path of the Goddess. Another game that didn't do too well, but I think it's beautiful. So again, I'm going to let you all know what I'm playing and what I'm enjoying, what I like about certain things, and also when I don't like certain things. Like, I don't play turn-based games, so you won't hear me talk too much about that. And I will give you all my opinion on Balatro. We will do this. This brings the same energy to every new woke game. It's always the greatest ever. At the end of the day, I just play the game on Game Pass. If it sucks, I don't play it anymore. Simpleton. Or it's not really Simpleton. I feel like so many people push back against games if they have diversity to it. I don't know. That's my opinion. I see it the other way. I don't actually see people saying it's the greatest game. I see more people complaining about games than saying this is the most amazing game. That's how I look at it. So, and then really cool games get to miss out, like Kanutsugami, which is on Game Pass. No one hyped that one up, and I think that's a beautiful game. You kind of have to like action, and you gotta like kind of tower defense, and so you gotta have to like that type of stuff. But it didn't do well, and but I think it should have. So, but that's that, y'all. Thank y'all so much for the show. And I will see you next time. And as always, I don't care where you game, how you game, why you game, what you game on, how long you've been gaming. As long as you're gaming, you're good with me. And as always, this is Purple Haze, and the proof is in the plan. All right, peace, y'all. Later.